What is up, homies? Welcome back to another trailer reaction from Heroes Reforged. We're reacting to the brand new trailer for Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3, the final season of this Star Wars animated series. If you want to see the uncut reactions for the first two seasons, you can see those on Patreon. They'll be coming soon to YouTube as well. Check out the Chexkins channel. We have plenty of episodes on there as well. We do the show live now every week, if you didn't know. Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time. We're doing a ranking of the DC Extended Universe characters. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of characters. I think everybody's going to really enjoy it. So check those out. I'm sad that the show is coming to an end, but I have said this plenty of times before. Season 1 felt like it was more of a kid's show. Season 2, I don't know why, it all of a sudden matured into something that was something for kids, but also adults could enjoy quite a bit of that show, more so than season 1. And we had some sad moments and some really good moments. So I'm really excited and looking forward to seeing how they close out this story and whether or not we'll see any of the remnants of that in the future of the Star Wars universe.
It was so much so, it was such a drastic change that I almost didn't want to watch season 2 because I was like, I don't necessarily want to watch another kid show and you know, all this stuff. And I was pleasantly surprised with everything they did with season 2.
Maybe we were just like sipping that Andor Kool-Aid because those are coming out around the same time that we were just like, Star Wars is political, Star Wars is rich, Star Wars is deep, we were just so into it. But you guys are not the only, we've talked about this before, you two are not the only folks who have made the connection that there's like a thematic connection between what they're doing on the Bad Batch and what they were doing in Andor. And hopefully this continues it, where we really were like, oh, this kind of ties into this, but more so it's just about how like in this post Revenge of the Sith world, like the fascism is fully in control and how it's affecting people and all that stuff. It was hitting us hard. It was hitting us hard. So,
absolutely.
I might even go so far as to say I might even like the Bad Batch as a show overall more than the Clone Wars as a show overall. Now, individual moments from Clone Wars, individual little stories and moments, I think for me, like, surpass what the Bad Batch is doing, but as a whole, it's just that consistency. It is like solid storytelling throughout. And some episodes of Clone Wars, I'm like, I could leave them. They're not my favorite. You know, there was
100%.
so many episodes. There was so many episodes.
Yeah, 7 seasons is a lot.
But this is tight seasons. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Count us down.
In 3, 2, 1, go.
Wow.
Troopers up top.
Oh yeah, we're basically picking up where we
shake them off,
left off, kind of, right?
Okay, all right.
Oh.
No!
Bunch of bad batches, you know what I'm saying?
I thought that the end of the war would mean an end to losing more of our brothers.
Come on, man. Don't show that to me.
Hey, that ain't fair.
Not with the Empire imprisoning the kid.
Oof.
Oh yeah.
No. Ooh, Crosshair.
Secure her in a cell.
So curious what this is going to lead to.
Waiting for us a long time.
Oh, she's been gone for a while.
It's not over yet.
There is nothing of greater importance to secure the future of this empire.
Okay.
Whatever is needed to accomplish this goal, you will have it.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Give us a real challenge.
Oh my god.
One last fight.
Yo.
We're not big on following orders.
Oh, their theme.
I wasn't planning on killing you, but you're making it very tempting.
Ooh.
Oh my god, it's Asajj Ventress. Holy crap. Oh my god. Yo.
That could have been
I got goosebumps. Oh my god.
Fake out. I don't know if that was. I don't know if that was in the same. You know how they cut to like Wrecker showing Asajj Ventress like facing off. Like they had different backgrounds. I don't know if that's the same scene. We don't want to be fooled. We're not going to be duped. That's very exciting.
In the suggested window, the first thing that pops up is a video pointing at the character saying Asajj Ventress.
Yeah, man,
it's huge. We don't know a lot about her, right? I mean, besides what we've seen kind of in her introduction, I guess there's been a lot of comic books and stuff.
There's mainly one novel. There's mainly one novel where I'm going to flat out spoil it for everybody watching right now. She dies in the novel.
Right.
And it is controversial because in the novel, she looks just like that. She has hair and she has walked away from the Count Dooku side of the Clone Wars. This was taking place during the Clone Wars. She walks away from the Separatists and she ends up falling kind of in love with Quinlan Vos, who's like the second lead of this book. Her and Quinlan get assigned by the Jedi Order to do this mission. You know, it's like Asajj Ventress. Like, why is she, you know, and I think Obi-Wan was part of this assignment. It ends up that they sort of fall for each other, and it's a really compelling story. And it was going to be episodes of the Clone Wars animated show, but then the show was canceled back in the day. Yeah. So what they did was I think it was Filoni or somebody else, basically were like, let's turn this into a novel, this little 4-episode. They even rough animated them. There was a few episodes that like lived in that space as well, where like they were maybe going to be completed, but then they pivoted and did these different projects. Some got a comic book, some got a novel, some got maybe a video game or something. I don't know what, but this one got a novel. And it's controversial that she died because Quinlan Vos got to live. And Quinlan is like the sort of surfer guy, laid back Jedi, so opposites attract. So they sort of fell for each other. And people were upset that, like many characters in Star Wars, it seemed frustrating that certain characters get to have redemption, but other characters don't. Right. And like Asajj Ventress was kind of redeemed, but she still died. So fans of hers were like, well, shit, man, here's like another woman character in the Star Wars universe that doesn't get to kind of like a Padme, where it's dang, dude, like, was there no, a little bit to sort of help the Quinlan character and whatever happens in the future. But here's the rub, fellas. She was involved with the Sisters of Dathomir. And let me tell you what,
that's right.
Them witches are crazy. Them witches can resurrect people.
Yeah.
So now,
them witches are necromancers.
Like, is Ventress coming back, and is this going to tie into? There was a super brief mention of Quinlan Vos in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Yeah, where he got to that little, like, sort of the underground path that they called it. And he was like, Quinlan was here. Like, he said something like that. So now people are like, you know, is this going to be anything's possible? Like, is this going to lead to like a live action Asajj Ventress? Are they going to do another season of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Are they going to do another live action show set in that era? Or are they going to do kind of like they were doing with Ahsoka, just flashbacks that, you know, that go back to this era, like we saw,
or just give her own show.
Yeah,
we saw her own. I mean, honestly.
Come on.
Maybe.
You could.
Yeah, I think we're so far past the thing of Star Wars of like when they do a prequel. If you guys remember as fans, we were always like, well, they're going to have to explain why so-and-so and such weren't in A New Hope. And it's like, I think we're way past that. I don't think it means that a character must die. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like for the longest time, fans wanted that. They want every single detail about every single character and understand the fate of every single major player in the Star Wars universe. I think at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I think if they're extremely pivotal to the story, then yes, it does kind of matter in a lot of ways. The characters from Rogue One, for example, it makes total sense that they all die at the end, because if they don't die at the end, why are they not in any other Star Wars film after that? They're that important. They should have been featured. So it makes total sense that you cut those characters off. But a character like Asajj Ventress, who for a lot of fans, you know, they're fans who are fans of all Star Wars, not just movies. You know, they're fans of the animation, the comic books, the novels, all that sort of stuff. So I feel like for them, it's a great opportunity to have more time with this character to understand what did happen with Asajj Ventress. Did she sacrifice herself? Did she give her life? You know, kind of how did they play with that? Even I was just looking, one of the directors from Bad Batch said, we don't want to spoil anything, but want fans to know that any new storytelling with Ventress will align with the events of Star Wars Dark Disciple. So I'm sure that they found a way to really figure out, okay, how dead is dead? And how gray is dead? And if we maybe change a few things here and there, and we kind of optimize or like really look into the details, can we sort of blur the line of Asajj Ventress is dead? Oh, actually, maybe she actually could have survived. So I think that's always kind of the hard part too, is retconning a character's death and being able to figure out a way to actually do it in a way where fans either who love the character or maybe even don't love the character or whatever will go, oh, that's cool that they were actually able to find a way to put the character back in. Yeah. And it doesn't change the book that they already loved or the stories they already loved. It's going to just add on to it. So I'm curious to see what kind of a role she's going to have in this season and what we're going to learn about her. And again, I think with this series kind of taking place where it takes place, how many of these characters will we lose and how many of them could live on in future Star Wars stories? And because the Bad Batch is such a particular group of troops, I don't feel like they all have to die in order to be like, oh, well, then why weren't they in New Hope? I'm like, well, but they're not really connected to the story. They're on their own mission, on their own adventure, dealing with their own circumstances and situations that aren't necessarily things that we addressed in the original trilogy anyway. So it's okay.
Plus, we've talked about that thing where, like, I think it was fans who sort of found it, and I think Lucasfilm ran with it, where like fans wanted Rex to survive. So then somebody went and rewatched Return of the Jedi. And they were like, this rebel guy kind of has a little bit of a tan and he's got like a white beard. That should just be Rex. Like Rex survived and that's now their headcanon. And then I think at some point the fandom all agreed with that. And Lucasfilm was like, that's a pretty good idea. And then they've had episodes of Rebels and such where they sort of show what a Tamora Morrison clone trooper would age into looking like, and it's basically like that background character in Return of the Jedi. And it's like, I think that's all fans want, is they don't need them to be in the center of, well, why didn't Omega help Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back? It's like, no, but we want them to be, the characters to have satisfying endings to their story. And if they retire somewhere and they're happy, then I think we'll be very happy about that.
I think you're right.
You know, everybody dies. Everybody eventually dies.
I recently saw an interview with Dave Filoni, and he was talking about how you know, the whole change from Legends not being canon, quote unquote canon anymore, and things like that kind of changing. I think first of all, he explained that he was the way him and George Lucas looked at it was that if it was not a movie or a TV show, it was not canon regardless. Even when all the Legend stuff was coming out and being published, right? That all was just kind of like add-ons or maybe like a what if kind of a situation or another like timeline kind of a situation. But then he also went to explain, he's like, look, we know there's really cool shit in the Legend. So we're going to pay homage to that while bringing that character back in a way that makes sense to the overall story. So having that mindset, it makes me not worry about any of this stuff that's going to happen, because I know it's all going to connect. Like I know it's all going to make sense because he's proven it to us, especially with this show, with Rebels, with everything else that we've seen. It's paid off so well, and it's done such justice to the overall story of Star Wars. It's added such depth and such richness to everything that it makes me really curious where this show is going to go, because we have a huge mystery with Omega. I still don't know what her deal is. Like I don't know what we're setting up with Omega. And the Bad Batch, like I really just want to see these brothers. We almost got them to retire last season, but unfortunately they didn't. I just want to see them retire and be happy. You know, and with this wrench of having Asajj Ventress in the scene, like, okay, are we really dealing with like getting into Sith side stuff of you know, of everything that's happening here? We got Papa Palps in this trailer. Like, it's getting real. It's getting real, yo. And these guys, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm scared. I'm scared for my brothers here. So
absolutely terrifying.
I think it's gonna be a great show. The overall look too, it looks evolved from seasons 1 and 2.
Good.
Like the textures look right. The animation looks good. Like everything looks like they're firing on all cylinders.
And the music for this trailer that had a little bit of that Bad Batch theme come in. I was like, I love that theme. I'm happy to hear it. Well done.
Absolutely. But of course, let us know your thoughts and theories. Where do you think the season could go? Where do you think the characters could end up? And how do you think they're going to justify Asajj Ventress' resurrection in this series? I'd love to know everybody's theories. Check out the Uncut Reactions for Season 1 and Season 2 on Patreon. Check out the Checkskins podcast, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.